Hey gang, I'm back. And so in that last video, I was working through these, I showed you how to bring in this keyboard extension and then how to trigger keyboard key emulations using buttons on the Circuit Playground Express. Now we could also assign those obviously to any one of these inputs, the touch inputs, the buttons, and the pins. So we could hook up external buttons. You could make a arcade joysticks. Really anything can be turned into a controller. But I just went with the buttons built in on the CPE because it was easy. And in this video, what I want to show you is how to work with this accelerometer. So there's a couple of important settings on the accelerometer, and they're all in here. I mentioned one real easy way to work with the various aspects of the accelerometer is just this on, and then we could say when it shakes, then we could have something happen. Tilt up, free fall, face down. All these different things are built-in possibilities, and those are documented in the reference here if you want to take a look at that. The way that I chose to implement it was to use the acceleration value. So the first thing that I did, and actually I was working on this idea of a no jump loop in here, but I was having a little trouble with it, so I just gave up on that for now. I'll probably continue fine-tuning it and maybe get back with you in class on some new ideas I might have. But what I'll do is just on start. So in our loops, remember we have on start and we have forever, which are so much like function setup and function draw in P5, aren't they? And so on start, what we're going to do is set the accelerometer range, and that's basically the sensitivity. And HE is, I believe, the least sensitive, and 1G is the most sensitive. And then I'm going to set a variable. So I made a variable called reading, and I'm going to set reading to this value. So this acceleration strength value. So I'll initialize this variable reading to whatever this is at the start, just at rest. And then I set the sensitivity pretty high, meaning that this number is just a variable that I made, and it's just going to say discard any values under 500, and I could even possibly go higher. But you can play with that and see what sort of numbers work for you. And then in the draw loop or the forever loop, I'm just setting this variable new reading. So you can see I've got reading, new reading, sensitivity, and this value. And I'm setting new reading to the current, right, in the loop, the current acceleration value. And you can see you can choose the X, Y, Z, or strength. And strength is just the amount of acceleration kind of in any direction. So I could probably change this, refine it a little bit. But then I'm going to set the value to the absolute value of the previous reading minus the new reading. So basically just the change in value. And then I'm going to say if the value has changed more than this sensitivity amount, then let's just say that the keyboard key W has been pressed. And if it's not, if we are not moving as fast as we were, then we'll go W up. And if you remember from the code, what that does is W down is going to trigger a hero jump, and W up is going to trigger a clear jump of that hero. And that's pretty much it. And then in this loop, we'll set the reading, this value here, to the new reading. So we now have a new baseline to compare the next loop to. So this new reading will get set to the next value, and we'll compare them again, and we'll go through on and on. Now there's a number of refinements I could make to this. I could, like I said, set a little pause before we get another value. I definitely found, and I'm interested to hear what your experiences are, I definitely found that this loop, the sort of processor intensive nature of this loop, was getting in the way of my buttons. And I tried a couple of things to solve that. None of them really worked as well as I would like. So I'm going to keep working on it, but be interested to hear if you have similar troubles. These buttons worked really well. To me, they were rock solid. Once I introduced this accelerometer, I was getting a little bit of interference with these buttons, and so maybe sometimes I'd press the button down while this loop was running, and the up wouldn't register, so my character would keep running and running and running. And I was having some trouble with my jump sensitivity. I think these are the kind of things you can spend hours and days and even weeks on refining. And I'll be interested to hear what your experience is with that. But this is the nuts and bolts of using that accelerometer, or the basics, let's say. And, I think one of the key things is to just be careful about what kind of interface you choose for a certain purpose. We know this accelerometer is going to be a little bit sloppy. So if you want to, it's probably not going to be great for calligraphy, drawing. But if you want to just make a Jackson Pollock painting, it'll probably do the job really well. All right, I'll see y'all in class on Tuesday, and hope you have a